Today's video is about reinstalling the toilet in our RV.
David was gone to East Texas for 3 weeks, and while he was gone, our toilet sprung a leak out the back. I turned the water pump off, and for the next 2 weeks, I used a combination of bottled water and also our construction porta potty. David's working to try to fix the leak in the toilet, and it's very cramped, tight quarters. Yuck.
Okay, this is a Thetford RV toilet, and the part that's broken is this little flushing valve assembly right here. You have to replace the whole thing as one piece. That screw right there takes it out. It's got a leak right here that's just part of the molding, and it can't be repaired. This is the flushing mechanism, how it pulls that valve over or lever over. So what I need you to do is go online and try to find a new one of these.
What's the part number?
Maybe that's it right there. I don't know if you'll be able to.
Can you read it?
It's a date, so it doesn't do anything. Now here's the model number of the toilet seat. It's a 31684. So you can just tell them you need the flushing assembly for a model 31684.
Okay, we're getting our redneck on. We've had the toilet sitting out there in the pasture, and the part has come in, so David's going to be replacing the part and reinstalling the toilet. The toilet has been cleaned and is ready for David to reset it after he puts the part back on, and this is where that part's going to go.
To reinstall the toilet in our RV, but just a little to back up a little bit and explain what happened with the riser where the water piping comes up from the floor. Right here is the connector where it went, or where it tied to the flushing valve that's mounted on the back side of the toilet, and it was the flushing valve that sprung a leak, couldn't be repaired, and we had to order a new one. We also had to stop the leak that was going on, so we shut the water off, pulled the toilet out. Now, in order to get this connection undone, because the toilet fits pretty tight to the wall, it was kind of limited space back there, and if you ever have to do this, a mirror, a flashlight, and a small pair of wire pliers will come in real handy. So we were able to undo the fitting, then pull the toilet up by removing the bolts that were holding the toilet to the floor, to this little flange here. Pick the toilet up and take it outside, but then that exposes a 4-inch hole here to the black tank, and it stinks something terrible. So in order to stop the smell, we happen to have some Gorilla Tape handy, so we just put 3 strips of Gorilla Tape on it to block the hole. If you had masking tape, I'm sure that'll work just fine. But so that plugged up the hole, stopped the smell. And then I just fabricated a little piece out of some plastic fittings that I had laying around, just that would fit this fitting, and then I capped off the top of it. That way we could turn the water back on and continue to shower and use the lavatory and that type of thing. So now we're going to reinstall the toilet. So the first thing we'll be doing is turning the water off to the trailer, and then removing this little temporary fitting that we have here. We'll be installing the new flushing valve on the back of the toilet, and then we'll reinstall the toilet, reconnect the water, hopefully it won't leak, and we'll be back in business.
Thanks, hon.
Yep.
Control panel that operates several systems. One of the systems it operates is the pump. So when the leak sprung and we had water coming out, David was gone, and I went over to the panel and I turned off the pump.
It holds the flushing valve in place, so let's start out by removing that screw. Alright, this is the new flushing valve. It's identical to the one we took out. First thing we got to do is this little hand lever here. We have to thread this little piece of wire into here, okay, so that it will flush. And then we mount it in the same position that the other one was in. You'll notice this little tab here goes in that little hole right there. And then this screw that holds it all in place goes back where it was. Okay. Oops. Gotta miss something. There's a little groove right here that you have to slide this into. And then that little lines up like that.
And we bought this part on Amazon.com. Amazon, it is your
Amazon Prime.
Your homesteader's place to go for shopping.
Okay, and then when the water comes in here, when you activate the flushing valve, water flows through it. It comes out right here and goes into this little plastic tube, which then takes it into the toilet. So that has to be put back on like that. And there are no clamps to hold it in place or anything.
Yeah, that makes you wonder if that could blow or something.
Well, it's not under any kind of pressure, so
okay.
It's probably just fine. If we have to, we'll put a clamp on it. So when you flush it, you know, that opens the valve, lets the water go in, goes into the toilet, and when you let go, it stops. So
now there was another part that came with the kit. What was that part for?
You'll see that in a little bit. It's a little rubber seal that goes on the bottom to seal it against the floor.
All right.
Gasket goes on the bottom of the toilet, and it'll create a tight seal against the floor flange in the. Ooh, that's nasty in there. On the floor. So, put that on first. Now we'll take it inside and get ready to mount it. Make sure the pump is turned off, and then open a faucet on the lavatory to bleed the water down.
Okay. The water has been opened on the sink to bleed the water down. The pump has been turned off.
Alright, so now we're going to remove this little temporary plug that we had put on here to stop the water.
And that's something you fabricated.
Yeah, that's just something.
Air freshener standing by.
Alright, and that's where we will connect to the new flush valve.
This is not a job for the faint-hearted or the sensitive nose.
That's what the toilet will bolt to.
Okay, that's called what?
It's a T-bolt. It's got a T-shaped head, so that when you put it in here, it'll hold itself and not turn. So now we're going to pull the Gorilla Tape off and set the toilet.
That's been holding all the odor from the black tank, keeping it from coming into the RV. We've got the door open, the vent above the toilet. I'm sorry. Do not want to have smell-o-vision today. Whew.
Both of them.
Okay, good.
So then, the nuts back on.
Show me the nuts.
Wait a minute, I'll show you the other one.
Okay.
Just a
Wait a
flanged
second,
nut.
hold still.
Just a flanged nut.
Okay. The cat's going, you smell worse than my litter box. Yuck.
Before we get it too tight, let's make sure that it's aligned properly. And then when you start tightening it, you need to do just a little bit at a time, side to side, so that till the toilet is sitting flat on the floor, because this will, tightening these bolts will compress that gasket.
That rubber gasket
Yeah,
that you...
until it comes in contact with the floor.
Okay. That also serves to keep the sewer gases from coming out from under the toilet, right?
You got it. We don't want to bolt it up to the point that it doesn't rock anymore, but we don't want to over tighten it.
Well, you want to sit on it and test it?
Well, you just do it like that.
While David is doing that, you might be wondering what's hanging over the door. The RV is tight for space, so I learned this from people that take cruises. You get a shoe bag and hang it over the door, and you put your toiletries in it. So it gives you some extra space and storage that comes in handy when you're living in an RV. Okay, we've turned the pump back on, and he's doing some flushing of the toilet, making sure it's not leaking out the back.
Hope you enjoyed the video. It works, so if you like it, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Donna's channel. Later.
Hi y'all. This video is some updates about what's been happening at the JRC. It's been a while since I posted updates, and I think you'll see we've made a lot of progress. So come along for the adventure.